Hey guys, so today's episode is a deep dive into one of the aspects that I covered in my masterclass, Symbiotic Success. So I held this masterclass at the weekend, last weekend. It was incredible. We had about 158 attendees on the masterclass. It was so good. The energy was incredible, the feedback was incredible, and I was so grateful to have delivered the information to that many people. So if you haven't seen the masterclass, you can go to the link in my bio and you can watch the masterclass there. It was a video presentation. It is about 50 minutes long, so I definitely recommend setting an hour aside, sitting down with a notepad and pen, because I had so many incredible note takers that attended the masterclass, and honestly it just fills me with so much joy to just know that the work that I'm doing is so helpful for you guys too, because I know the frustration when you feel like you are stuck at stages 2 and 3, and that's what we're going to deep dive into today. So I wanted to really break down the beliefs that are at play at each level. So there's 4 levels that I've identified on my journey. Each one I want you to see as a different level of consciousness, and each level of consciousness has its own set of beliefs that you need to recode to jump to the next level. If you found that you are coming up with the same hurdles, the same emotions, so the same frustration, the same overwhelm, the same lack of clarity on a particular aspect of your business, or even if you're at the beginning of your entrepreneurial journey and you're wanting to pivot online, but then you're stuck in the fear, you don't know if it's going to work, you're doubting what you're even going to create your business around, then this episode is definitely going to help you understand exactly where you're at, understand the beliefs that you're operating from, and most importantly, give you the tools to actually recode your belief system so you're no longer operating in that stage, and therefore you can jump to the next stage. And it's so exciting to just get to that point and know that you're not stuck. It's not that you're not capable, it's literally that you've got a belief system that's not in alignment with the belief system of that of your goals. So when you switch the script and then you actually get them in alignment, you'll start to see that everything that you want is within reach. You just need to reprogram your subconscious mind and your somatic system to match. So let's get into today's episode. We get straight into each stage to find out which stage you're at. So we have stage 1, and we're going to call this the strategized self. So this is also known as the excited dreamer in the masterclass when you watch that, or if you've already watched it. And this is where you are excited because you're ready to embark on a new mission. You are ready to leave your 9 to 5. You are ready to pivot your business. You are ready to create more freedom within your lifestyle. So at this point, you've had your awareness shifted to the possibility of you being able to create your dream life. You are done being told what to do. You are done following traditional paths. You feel possibly burnt out at this point. You're just ready for something new. So the subconscious beliefs at play here are that hard work equals worthiness, because you're still in the conditioned state. So you're still in the I have to work hard to prove myself. I have to work hard to get the results that I want kind of consciousness. Then we also believe at this stage, if it was worked for them, it'll work for me, which is why we go grabbing every single strategy, saving every do this to get X, Y, and Z posts on Instagram, or we're following different business mentors and they're saying that their way works. So you're like, yeah, okay, I'll save that information. I'll download their free masterclass. I'll do this, I'll do that. And you're just basically like gathering all the information, but you're feeling so excited whilst you're doing it because you know that you are pivoting and now you're able to see yourself for the highest version that you are working towards. So You also believe at this stage that money is earned through output and sacrifice. So you might be working all the time, pulling all-nighters, just trying to make this work. But again, it's coming from an excited energy because it's different to what you are currently doing. So therefore, you've got that excitement behind you and you're willing to just do whatever it takes to make your dream come alive. You also believe at this stage that being consistent equals being valuable. A lot of the people-pleasing undercurrent is still at play. So the societal and conditioned beliefs are you must hustle to deserve success and don't make it about you. Stay professional in your marketing because you kind of feel like no one cares about you. They just want to know facts. They just want to know the details of how they can get the results, and you don't want to show too much personality. So you might hide behind infographics, Canva templates, and just feel like if you keep it professional, you keep your grid looking a certain way, people are going to take you seriously when really it's boring. So you also believe that we have to be productive and not emotional, and emotions are seen as weak and we just suck it up, get on with it. Even if it's the time of the month, we're just like, no, it's fine, can't rest, we've just got to go. We're just consistent throughout the time, operating from that masculine strategy because it's how we've been conditioned to be. So the emotional imprints that are at play here are approval for performance, not presence. So we feel like we're not in the present moment. We are literally just trying to work to get the results that we want, but we're missing out on the journey and the fun that is in creating the results that we want. We also have a fear of disappointing others. We're thinking, oh, if I pivot careers, I'm going to let my colleagues down, I'm going to let whoever down, my family are judging me, they're wondering what the hell's going on, why am I making this decision, because I've made a good life for myself, I look like from the outside I've got a good career, everything looks good, why am I pivoting now? You've also got your identity on a subconscious level that is linked to being the high achiever that you are. So your identity is linked to external validation. So whenever anyone challenges that, you will start to feel a little bit uneasy inside. So the current consciousness is very survival and performance driven. So business therefore feels like pressure, feels like obligation, and feels like comparison. So this is where we get into a bit of a strategy trap. We're overcomplicating literally everything. We're mimicking mentors and we're hustling without clarity because we're just literally trying to piece it together, make everything our own, but at the same time we don't feel comfortable being ourselves because we've been told what to do for the longest time. So the shifts to make at this stage would be to recode the main belief that's at play, which is this is what you would switch the belief to in the Recode app. You would switch it to, I create results through alignment, not exhaustion. It's safe for me to rest, and I succeed as I do so. The more I rest, the more I earn. The more I'm regulated, the more flows to me. Like those kind of beliefs. Whatever feels comfortable for you, your terminology, your way of being, you know who you are. You know what you want to operate from. If you are a workaholic like me and you genuinely love it, but you also know that you have to find balance, and obviously when you've got a family as well, they come first. So a belief that is supportive of the family aspect, your relationships, and your desire to work and your passion to work is what is required to be recoded here. So then we'd also need to make sure that our nervous system feels safe in resting and receiving. And how you do this is by, when you are feeling exhausted, when you are just, say like it's the time of the month, and usually you would just act like nothing's different, you just carry on going about your day, but you feel like you're tired, you're like, you're yawning more, like I can't even say it without yawning. But at this stage, you would just give yourself the rest. So you're feeling like your body's tired, so lie down, give yourself the rest, and notice the thoughts that come up. This is the old conditioning, and this is what you really want to pay attention to. So when you give yourself the rest, you will start to notice that you'll be like, oh, I need to do this, this, and this, or I'm lazy, why am I doing this? Or I'll do 15 minutes lying down and then I'll get up and I'll do something else. Or if someone comes into the room, you might pretend that you're doing something, or that you don't feel well, or whatever it is. Just making excuses for you just being you, for you just resting like you're not worthy of rest. That is what you want to recode in the moment. So every time you feel those thoughts that tell you you're not worthy to rest, or you've got so many things to do, just know you're operating from urgency. You're putting your worth and validation on efficiency, and you are more than that. That's just the conditioning. So you're just going to pause, notice the thoughts, the beliefs at play, and say, no, I am worthy of rest. I am tired. My body needs rest. So therefore I will give my body, myself, the safety and space to receive that rest. Breathe in. You can put your hand on your heart. Put your phone down. Just relax. Just give yourself presence and just relax. Just know you can just sit there. You don't have to be replying to emails, trying to figure out your next move, doing all the things. And I get it. I've been there. We're not doing that. You deserve more than that. So then the outer focus, the actual business strategy that you do want to focus on at this stage, is to simplify. You're going to focus on one single offer, one single message, one single version of you that threads into that. So what do I mean by that? I mean, who are you helping? Generally, it's a woman or man 1 to 2 steps behind you. You're at the point where you are feeling burnt out. If you're in stage 1, you are excited because you're pivoting careers, or you've got the potential to, and you're working on that. Who are you speaking to? What are your gifts? What have you gone through? What can you share? One offer, one message, one version of you that is relevant to that you're going to thread in your messaging. Okay, so stage 2, the misaligned achiever. So this is when you are doing all the work, but it doesn't feel right anymore. You are literally piecing everything together. You're taking the action. You're pushing yourself out of your comfort zone. You're posting on social media. Might not be consistently because you've got all the fears still, but you're doing it. You're showing up. But you're thinking, why is nothing working? Why does it not feel right? Why does it feel so uncomfortable? There's so much shame there. There's comparison to your former self. And the subconscious beliefs at play here are, maybe I'm not meant for this. Something's wrong with me because I just can't stay consistent. Why can I not post every day? Why can I not commit to doing what I want to do? When before, when I was in my corporate job, when I was in my brick and mortar business, I was showing up every single day despite how I felt. If I had a cold, if I was feeling X, Y, and Z, why can't I be consistent here? If I pivot, I may confuse my audience, not feeling like your content is a reflection of you. So therefore you're thinking, is it the business model? Do I need to pivot to speaking about something else? Like, you're just not sure. There's just so many question marks at this stage. And then you're thinking success comes when I'm clearer, when I'm louder, when I'm better. So you put your success at some point in the future and you think, well, I'm not going to get it now because I've not done X, Y, and Z. So if I just become better, more confident and all of the things, then I'm going to get it. But you're coming from a place of judgment, and that's because you've got belief that subliminally you don't feel good enough to be where you are or to have the results of where you want to be. So the societal conditioned beliefs here are, if you're unclear, you're unqualified, you need to niche down to stick in your lane, and confusion means failure. But it's not. You're just in the in-between sticky stage where you're not the version you used to be and you're not the version who you want to be. You're just trying to figure out what that journey looks like. And I get it. It's so frustrating. And this is why I'm so passionate to help you. So the emotional imprints here are insecurity around being seen in transition. It's not being seen entirely. It's being seen to be the beginner because you've worked yourself up in your former career, in your former position, in your business, to a certain level that you feel proud of. That identity is a proud identity. And then all of a sudden, you're now a beginner in your 30s. And that's a lot to get your head around. So it's you've got a bit of insecurity around being seen in transition. So we also, as a result, have internalized judgment from that pivot or the current version that you're operating from today, especially if you've gone through motherhood as well, because you've got that other identity layer on there. And that's what I was experiencing. I've even got a journal that I often look back in just to see how I can really help you at your stage as well, because I wrote in that journal before I made the decision to exit my business the problems that I was predicting I would face. And one of them was struggling to choose a new identity and to feel like I'd lost my identity, because my registration plate on my car was linked to my business. My Instagram name was linked to my business. It was Natalie Flash because my business was called Flash Express Beauty Bars. So, like, everything, my whole identity was just entwined and enmeshed within my business. So when I wasn't a part of the business, I didn't know who the bloody hell I was. Even, in fact, one of my partner's best friends was like, "Nat's surname is Flash, isn't it?" And he was like, "No, that was a business name." So that's how much it was ingrained within me to being my former version. So there was a lot of shedding, and it all makes sense now, but I want you to go through it so much faster, and just to make sense of why you're feeling a certain way. It's not that you're not worthy, it's just that your identity needs a little bit of a tweak, because it's either stuck in the past or it's in the future, but you've not quite embodied that version yet. So it causes that inner conflict. We also operate from emotional imprints of a fear of emotional exposure, because we're thinking, well, if I'm vulnerable, then that equals failure. But you need to be vulnerable to some extent, and this is where you need to be clever with this, because a lot of social media coaches will say, "Oh, just be vulnerable, share your story. The more vulnerable you are, the more authentic you are." People connect to authenticity. Yes, they do. But you have to know who the hell you are and what part of your story is relevant to your messaging, and the messaging needs to be empowered. You don't want to treat your social media strategy like you're writing in your diary and you're just hoping someone's going to resonate with it. Honestly, that is the worst move you can do. You just feel shameful at that point, because you're like, yes, I'm sharing to help somebody, but where the hell is this going? It needs one continuous thread, an intention linking back to your one offer, which is going to be relevant to one aspect of your story. You're going to have one solid message, therefore you're treating and helping one single avatar, one client. So once you know all of that, your messaging is so much easier. But don't just treat your social media like it's a Dear Diary entry, because it's not good for your identity. It's not good for how you feel about yourself. It's just not good for business. It's not going to get you the results. So we really want to deep dive into that before you start sharing everything. And I'm speaking from experience here. Okay, so then your current consciousness at this point is a little bit of delusionalment, because you're kind of like, you're doubting where you're going, but you believe it so much. So you have to have a little bit of a delusion there, because from the outside it looks like you're so far away. And then because of that, sometimes you get into the flip side of delusion, and that's doubt, because you're like, no, I believe it, but I can't see it yet. So is it really true? Am I delusional? Like what's happening? So this is because you're waking up to your new self. You're taking the action, you're feeling the feels, but you're still clinging on to what used to work, because that's the safety. So it's like this back and forth cat and mouse game. So this is where we're trying to force consistency from misalignment, because you're embodying your old self, but you're trying to be a new self. So therefore you can't do it, because this is why the procrastination and the self-sabotage shows up, because you're two different identities and you're forcing yourself to be one when you're acting from the place of another. So we start to over-research and we're under-trusting ourselves, and this is what causes lack of clarity. So we need to recode to make sure that clarity follows when we are connected to ourselves. We regulate by tending to the inner child wounds around visibility and inconsistency. I know when I did the Recode method around, because I've shared this in the masterclass, but I invested in dropshipping, then I went to affiliate marketing, then I went to self-publishing, then I went to high-ticket affiliate marketing. So I'm investing in all these different business models, all before I realised it wasn't them, it was me that wasn't working, so to speak. And anyway, when I certified in NLP and created my framework for the recoding method, then I did the technique on myself. I was like, why sometimes do I get so excited and take action and I'm like, this is it, and then it fizzles out, and then I'll do it again and then it'll fizzle out. So anyway, I recoded the belief, and it took me back to a root core memory of when I don't even think I was 2. I can't remember how old I was, but I could see my vision. It was like I was crawling and I was trying to put these wooden blocks up. I was like stacking them up, and then they dropped down, and then my dad made me feel he basically put pressure on me to do it right, and that just made me lose interest. And then the other reflections throughout my life that were linked to that were like starting to play violin at school, and then when I got really good at it, people were expecting more of me, so then I quit. Then I did it with keyboard, then I did it with ballet and tap, horse riding, and I just kept doing it. And then I realised that pattern was created when I associated something that I was enjoying. And bearing in mind, this pattern was created when I was like 1 or 2. When I was doing something that I enjoyed and then it got turned into serious play, my interest just fizzled. Because the pressure was on. It was no longer about enjoyment, it was about performance. And that was created from my, let's say, 1-year-old self, which is absolutely wild. And then I could see how it played out every single moment from then until I cleared that belief. So this is why this work is so powerful, because you might notice patterns in your behavior, in your interest and excitement levels, and it's all from a conditioned belief or an experiential belief. So the outer focus at this point would be to speak from the shift. Let your content reflect your truth as it evolves. Don't try and be perfect. Don't try and act like you've already got your ish together and you're already earning 100k a month, or however much your goal is. Don't act like you're already there, because people know you're not. But also don't act like you're just this little struggler who's not knowing what you're doing and you're trying everything and it's not working. Share what's happening, and there's different strategies that you can use to entwine into this based on your human design. But more importantly, just share what feels good at this point, that it's going to be relevant to your messaging, to your one message, to your one client that you're helping, to your one offer, to your one aspect of your story. Okay, so then we've got stage 3. This is the expanding edge. This is like the little bit uncomfortable stage, because you're moving from frustration to, oh, wow, I can feel the shift. Like, this is really calling me to be bold, be courageous, and expand. And this is when your belief is, I'm not who I used to be. And that's actually terrifying, because I haven't got a clue who I am. But I kind of feel like I have. I've got the vision, and it's requiring a lot of me. It's requiring me to push my edges. And the subconscious beliefs here that kind of like pull you back from being that courageous version that you know you are if I grow, I'll be judged or abandoned. I might lose what I've built if I shift now. So it's the fear. It's safer to stay small than to be misunderstood. So this is like fear around speaking your truth, thinking, well, maybe I'm the only person in the world that has this thought, like this perspective of what I'm about to share, or what if I sound weird, or what if I sound like too deep or too analytical or too. And it's like we just think like we're too much for thinking this way, like we're the only person in the world that thinks like that. because we're operating from the ego, we're making it all about us rather than all about serving others, which is actually what it's about. And it's a mindset shift that you need to operate from before creating your content. Don't make it about you. Don't think, oh, if I create this, is this going to make me look good? Is this going to make me look like I know what I'm talking about? Is this going to get me some likes? Because you're just trying to take. You actually want to flip the narrative to, how can I share? Like, is this post going to help people? Is this post going to actually make people think, oh my God, this is so helpful. Yeah, I see myself in that. Thank you so much for that. Like, I'm going to implement that. That's what you want to be operating from. And you might also think at this stage, like, I can't be spiritual and successful because no one will take me seriously. I'm either fully fledged spiritual or I'm fully fledged corporate logical mind. When really, you're both. And this is why it feels so difficult to incorporate both into your strategy. So the societal and conditioned beliefs are that changing equals being flaky and being inconsistent because you don't really know who you are. Why are you not just operating from the same identity, doing the same career for your whole life? Like, what are you doing? Kind of thing. That we have to stay in our own lane. Well, we've mastered a certain skill, so you should do that for the rest of your life. Why are you pivoting now? And that spirituality isn't credible. People aren't going to take it seriously. I think this one is getting a little bit outdated now because people are awakened to the truth more that we are spiritual beings. We are connected to our intuition. People are actually wanting to learn more about it, to connect back to their truth so much more. So I think that one is a little bit outdated, or it's becoming outdated, but it's still something that we can feel. Emotional imprints here are the fear of being too much, because maybe when we were kids we got told that if we were too loud, if we were too excited, it was cringe, or it was just too much for our parents to cope with because they just weren't emotionally regulated, so then they projected that onto us. And then you've got also the grief over leaving an old version of yourself behind. So I did record a video on this. I'll find it and link it below, because this is the work that you should do when you're letting go of your old self. It's a perspective shift that will really help you to understand that it's not about never being that former version again or never honouring that version. It's about looking back and accepting that version, seeing it for all that it was, and just allowing yourself to lovingly move on. And it just helps so much, because otherwise you can't move forward whilst you're holding on to that former version, because then it causes comparison, causes just feeling like a failure, guilt, shame for even moving and pivoting. Like, it's just not a good emotional state to be in when you've not let go of your former identity. And this is where, if you don't do that, we start to have a bit of an identity crisis, because you're refusing to let go, but you want to be the new version so bad, but you just aren't, out of fear. So when you understand that this is the messy middle, this is when the identity crisis meets breakthrough. So it feels like grief, freedom, fear, and expansion all at once. And this is why you've got that inner conflict, and this is why parts integration, which is in the app, is so good for this, just to identify each energetic part of you, so that you know when each part's at play. So when you're feeling a certain feel, you'll be like, okay, I see that part is at play now. It's trying to protect me from this. Okay, so I'm going to just feel safe. And I know right now this is not giving you too much context on parts integration, but in the app it makes so much more sense. But it's going to allow you to move forward as the identity that you want to be, rather than trying to shrink down out of fear. So the shift to make is to recode to I am safe to evolve beyond what others expect of me. You want to regulate to anchor in self-trust and your nervous system stability during the growth. So breath work, being out with nature, walking every day, working out, just being present with yourself, being patient with yourself, because you are evolving. You want to see yourself as like the butterfly at this point, the caterpillar going into the cocoon. You're in the cocoon at this point. You're about to break out of the chrysalis. You have to be kind to yourself. You cannot be shaming yourself and wishing you were somewhere else, wishing you were a millionaire already. You are learning a whole new set of skills whilst you are learning to be the most authentic version of you that you've ever been in your life, and you're letting go of all conditioned beliefs and experiences that you've held on to for the longest time. So be patient with yourself. And the outer focus here would be bold messaging. Own your new identity. Share your pivot as a portal. Don't try and be perfect, and don't try and be somewhere that you're not. And then we have stage 4. This is the we've made it stage. This is the aligned identity, where our belief is I lead from who I am, not what I do. My energy is my offer. I don't have to prove, I just have to be. Rest is productive, space is strategy. I'm not for everyone, and that's my superpower. If someone unfollows me, thank you, because now I know that my audience is who I want to speak to, who are resonating with me. I'm not speaking to anyone that doesn't get what I'm talking about, so therefore I feel even safer sharing my content. Just switch the narrative of what it means to lose followers. What does it mean when your follower count is growing slow? It means that I've got an engaged audience who are committed to learning about what I'm sharing and also coming along with me on this journey. And just think, like, whether you've got 200 followers, 500, 800, 1,000, 10,000, 100,000, whatever. Imagine that amount of people in a single room listening to what you have to say. And every time you go into that room, those people are there. Every time you've got something to share, those people are there. That's a big freaking deal. So don't discount that. So here we are realizing that we no longer operate from doing more equals being better, from scaling requires sacrifice, from emotions aren't professional, from feminine energy has no place in sales. No, we're flipping the script. Feminine energy is leading the sales. Emotions are what brings connection. Scaling is easy when you've got the right strategy in place, and the strategy being 90% your energy. The emotional imprints that we've cleared are unworthiness, hustle, shame, abandonment wounds, the fear of visibility, because our current consciousness at level 4 is we are the creator, we are the leader, we are the mentor, and this is where alignment meets ease. You trust your voice, you trust your value, you trust your vision, because you're not straddling 2 different identities now. You've made the pivot. So the strategy that works here is magnetic content rooted in identity, pricing from clarity, not compromise or comparison, offers built around energetic capacity. So what feels good? It can feel a little bit stretchy, but what do I want to do every day, or like every week or every month? What can I commit to that I'm not going to feel like I want to bail on? What feels good and expansive and of service to me and my clients? And we want to lead from embodiment, not performance. And this is why I don't share, like the revenue that I make through the business or how many sales I get per day, because I don't see it like that. I see that when we have a unique purpose, we get to embody the passion, we get to embody the gift, we get to embody the value that comes with that purpose. We don't have to be shouting from the rooftops about how much money we've made, because at the end of the day, I'm not here to tell you how to make money. I'm here to tell you how to connect to your purpose, how to connect to your truth. And as a result of that, by you being in alignment and you letting go of everything that tells you it should be any other way, the money just flows to you. And let's face it, we've all got different revenue goals. We've all got different lifestyles. And this is why I say that there's not one version of success. Some people want a G-Wagon. Some people are happy with a Volkswagen. Some people want to travel the world and live in a camper van. Like, success is all of that. So yeah, I don't care for sharing revenue. I don't care for saying, here's how you can hit your 10K months, because if that's for you, fabulous, then you can find a coach who is going to focus on the money first. But I believe focusing on the self, focusing on your identity, your knowingness of who you are and your purpose and the strategy to get you whatever you want is, well, that's my strategy anyway. So at this stage in level 4, you want to be focusing on maintaining your subconscious alignment with your evolving mission. You're going to get frequent downloads. You want to really make sure that you are staying on track, stay grounded in your expansion, and have regular recalibration of your strategy to meet your energetic edge. Ask yourself, am I feeling comfortable now? Am I playing small? Could I just stretch myself a little bit more? Could I do a masterclass to more than X amount? Could I do it in person? Could I reach out and be on another podcast? Could I do this? Could I do that? You want to be thinking, right, I've met this edge. It feels safe now. What's the next edge? So now we've gone through each single stage. I hope it's given you a better understanding of where you're at, the beliefs that you're operating from, what you need to switch the beliefs to. And in the masterclass as well, if you want to rewatch that, like I said, it is available in my bio, and you'll find a task there which basically identifies your current belief and the belief that you want to be operating from. So if there's a difference between those two beliefs, that's when you know you're out of alignment. And that's when you need to use the tools within Symbiotic Success, the app, to recode them. I do recommend, though, that you at least have a single recode session with me before using the app, just so you know how to use the audios, where you're going in your mind, because there is a process to it. And yeah, then obviously I have my mentorship as well. So if this breakdown lit something up in you, you're going to love what's happening inside the membership. Like I said, this week we've already added a recoding audio, so you can clear the subconscious patterns keeping you stuck in your current stage. And I will be hosting the monthly live Q&A with hot seating coaching for members only. So this is your safe space to recalibrate, to be witnessed, and to shift into your next level identity with support and strategy that actually fits you. And it's at the lowest price it's ever going to be. It's going to be increasing soon. So currently it's at £55 per month, so you can cancel at any time, and the link is also in my bio. But please know that each of these stages is so sacred. Please don't try and rush through them. I know that it feels uncomfortable when you're not getting the results and you're used to getting the results, but just know that the more we try and just shame ourselves for being where we're at, the longer you end up staying there. So just do the internal work first, and you'll soon be able to enjoy the journey. Let's not rush our lives away. It's part of the process. You're meant to create from truth. You're meant to scale from self-connection, and that's exactly why I created Symbiotic Success and all my offerings. So I'm going to leave that there, my loves. If you've got any questions, reach out to me on Instagram, send me an email. I'll leave that email down below, and I will see you in the next episode. Bye.